So as I understand this problem, we have an invoice value here, which has been broken down into different WBS splits. This value here, I'm not sure what these two columns are, so I'm ignoring them. And then it looks like some sort of cost center code or something in here. And so where there's a match between this cell with ISSS with this cell here, then you want to be able to add up the values. And so I've used Power Query to do that. You need to download, install Power Query, and then you go insert from table and create a new Power Query workbook, which I've already done, so I'm going to close out of that. And this is the one that I created. This is return to table to Excel, but you can turn off the Excel load to worksheet and just load it into the data model. I've just put it in the worksheet for demonstration purposes. And so I'm going to remove that from the data model. Okay, so I'll just edit this Power Query workbook. So to do that, you go Power Query, Workbook Queries, right-click, Edit, and go back to the source. So this is the original data format that I've imported from the sheet. And so the first thing I did was unpivoted the columns, anything with the WBS in it. I've highlighted and then it's gone to transform unpivot. And so once I did that, it looked like this, where all of those column headings are now in this particular row. I then changed the name of that column to WBS, and then I filtered out anything that had a blank in this column here and ended up with this. Then the next thing to do was to unpivot all of these values from here to here. And so same process. Once I've done that, I end up with this, where all of those column headings are now in this column. Then I went ahead and filtered out all the zeros from this value column, and it looks like this. Now the problem we've got now is that this value in this column is only valid if this IWHS matches this column here. So this one matches, this one doesn't, so I need to filter out all of these. So what I did was I took this column here and I duplicated it, and it appears over to the right here. Then I moved it over here. I split this column into two and then got rid of this, apparently I changed the type, and then I removed this column here, this copy one, and just left me with this column here, which I renamed to something else. So this is what we want. This is the attribute. So where these two are matched, that's a valid value, and where they don't match, like this one, then that's not a valid value. So I added a custom column on the end, this one here, and if you have a look at the formula that I put into this custom column, I just put a simple if statement. If this column is a match to this column, then put this value in this column, otherwise put the value null. And then I got rid of this interim column here. And then the last thing to do is to filter out all the nulls. And that leaves me with this flat data structure, which I have then loaded in the worksheet. And if you add up these values here, they add up to 14,357.26. And if I add up these values here, 14,357.26, and if I add up this column here, 14,362. So it looks like these severance need to go in there somehow.